Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. December 22nd. Today's live. I'm going to see if I missed anything, but I'm seeing just a bunch of hellos and Merry Christmases, and everybody can hear me. So awesome. Thank you. Familiar faces. I recognize everyone, obviously. So thank you. And yeah, what I will do is I will hop right on to, I have all the Q&As sitting here from last time we were supposed to do this. Been having some issues with my vehicle that burned to the ground in Los Angeles. So I'm kind of at the mercy of the insurance company, and they hit me up right when I was about ready to go live last time. So thanks for your patience on that. So I'm opening up the questions from the last time, and I'm just going to rock them out right here, and then hopefully that'll spawn some conversation. But this will give everybody a chance to get caught up too. All right, Carrie asks, what is my favorite food? Low end, I love me beer, pizza, breadsticks. That's my really go-to junk food. I love peanut butter and chocolate Baskin Robbins ice cream. High-end food, I like a good steak and an old-fashioned. That drink is awesome. Irene asks, have I ever visited Europe? Yes, I played soccer in Holland, believe it or not. And also I was in Germany and various other places due to the military, as you can imagine. Moving on, somebody asked what my favorite food is again. Do I have a favorite actor? I have a handful, and they're all for various reasons. As just a movie fan, I really like Hugh Jackman. As an actor, I really like Hugh Jackman because of all he does and can do. Again, as an actor also, I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he does a lot of good stuff that's very unique and isn't at the mercy of big business. So I like him a lot too. There's a movie with he and Hugh Jackman. I just forgot what it was called. Prisoner, I think, and it's a really good movie. What is my top choice for holiday destination, funds permitting? Anywhere, honestly. I would like to go to Europe. I'm not a big islands and beach guy, so I'd honestly like to see my family too. What's your best fuck it moment that I can share? Excuse my language. Well, that's what it says. There's a lot of those moments. Well, to clarify, F it to me, it doesn't also mean I haven't made a lot of calculated decisions up until that moment. For me, when I say F it, it's because I've been meticulous in calculating, and then I'm getting to the point where there's no more I can do, and I just finally say, all right, F it. So rarely have I done anything willy-nilly. I've made a lot of mistakes because of that attitude, but I never do the F it thing without some sort of contemplation. I mean, and so that doesn't necessarily mean the following list are negative. When I proposed to my now ex-wife, I said F it, and it was great for the 12 years we were together. When I became a Green Beret, that was when I said F it. When I became a firefighter, that's also when I said F it. When I resigned from being a firefighter to move to Los Angeles and be an actor, that's when I said F it. So I actually say that a lot. Sue asks, what's my favorite view? My favorite view is the middle of nowhere, Montana, with cows and wilderness. My favorite mode of transportation. I like driving if it's a nice car. I don't mind flying if I have a good seat. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, getting meaty here. Daryl asks, your favorite role so far in your career and why? It's a good one. I answered this yesterday in a blog interview, and honestly, I really liked Wayne in Parallax because on the surface, the character was a hero and a character I fortunately often play. But under the surface, he was also a really dark guy that sexually assaults a woman. So that was a really good character for that. It didn't really jump my career, but it was a really pure experience because there was no pay. It was fueled purely by passion for all those involved. When I get the Jack Reacher role, that will probably be the new answer, my favorite role in my career. Emma asked, the best advice I've ever been given and the worst. Interesting. Best advice. Well, that's a tough one. Forgive me, I have to drink this. I'm still fighting whatever disease I have. Best advice, I don't know if it wasn't explicitly given to me, but it would definitely be don't quit. That is applied to, sorry, I'm multitasking here. That is applied to Green Beret world. That is applied to hopefully that worked. Firefighting in Hollywood, that's been the best advice, is just don't quit. And that has been ingrained into my existence since the dawn of time for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And that comes into everything. And I'll answer these new questions as they come. Let's see. Worst advice. Nobody's really given me bad advice, to be honest with you. Nothing comes to mind, so it must have not been that bad. And I'm almost caught up on these questions. The most important thing you learned from your dad. Work ethic. I would say I got that from my dad, for sure. Shirley asked a really good question. You are so well-rounded and grounded. What do I struggle with? Optimism. Straight up optimism. I get very jaded, and particularly individuals that are very good at thinking positively and, dare I say, manifesting and asking for things. That stuff just eludes me. So I massively struggle with that. An individual recently was telling me how she had been thinking about various jobs and various opportunities, and things worked out for her. And for me, particularly in this Hollywood career, I really struggle with that because so much in this godforsaken city is out of our control, and so that I really struggle with that. I get through my lack of optimism, or dare I say faith, with just blind hard work ethic. Yeah, that's what I really struggle with, very much so, daily. And then Marcus, this is kind of a question that I must address. Writes, one thing that bites me in the ass, though, he shoots a silver doll at 1,000 yards, and I have to beat that to take the role of Reacher. Well, Marcus, I'm pretty sure you probably can outshoot me as far as a sniper rifle, or a good long-range rifle shot. Luckily, Reacher, if he went to any sniper schools, is a fictional character, so in film I can make it look like I can shoot that good. So, luckily, Reacher's fictional, and I can make it look great. So, that's those. I will now address what y'all have been writing here. Hey, hello, Merry Christmas. And I do say Merry Christmas. I respect those who do not, but I can't read minds, so I say Merry Christmas. If I do know you don't like Merry Christmas, I'll do my best to remember that. Thank you, Charlotte. I am sorry I still have the sniffles too. I don't know what's up. Hey Daniel, Tina asked, did I do that artwork behind me? Yes. It looks very staged, doesn't it? But yes, I drew that. It's charcoal, and I painted those. Yes, and my mom painted that, and I just blanked on the artist that painted that, and those are Van Gogh. Wait, not Van Gogh. Yes, Van Gogh. Starry Night and Cafe Terrace, I think is what it's called. But that's called Nighthawks, and I can't remember the author's name, or the artist's name. Multitasking is not going well because there are some weak links in the equations of my multitasking today, thus making me a little frustrated because they're out of my control. So we shall see. Merry Christmas, Joe, also. Thank you, Brenda. That's nice of you. I think I'm pretty good. So, somebody asked a question. If I were not an actor... Oh, wait. Somebody I thought asked me a question earlier. Oh, that was that one. If I were not an actor, what would I be? It's a tough one. I would have to be brainwashed, number one, because I can't fathom anything else. Am I being brainwashed in this scenario? If I'm being brainwashed, I really liked firefighting. I really also liked military and like contracting and doing Green Beret kind of work. So if I could brainwash the acting out of me, those would be my answers. Thanks to Tina. Talent does run in the family. I'm lucky. It's not as easy for me. I definitely have to probably consume about a half a bottle of wine to turn off my analytical brain, but I do my best. And I'll wrap up the Q&As from Instagram Q&A stuff, and then I'll get into some meat and bring everybody up to date with some stuff. And I apologize for drinking in front of y'all, but I really have to. So let me get these Q&As pulled up. There it is. All right. You should go. These aren't questions. This is a really good question. How do you control your emotions and not lose control when life keeps effing you? Again, social media is, depending on who's running it, filtered and or false. For me, it's very little is filtered, honestly, as hopefully y'all know. As far as I know, none of it's false. But there's some stuff y'all don't see, and when life keeps effing me, who's to say I am controlling my emotions? That's probably when I just don't get online, to be honest with you. I don't control them well, to be honest with you. I don't like not getting what I want or succeeding, or just when things are, like you said, when life keeps effing you. Having to move, and then when the Land Cruiser burned to the ground and just being sick, it got to the point where I was actually just kind of like beat to the point where I couldn't even react anymore. So if I weren't sick, my answer would normally be go to the gym. I'm trying to surround myself with good people. That's been very helpful. But no, I don't. That's not something I lose. I don't necessarily lose control per se. It's not like I have anxiety attacks or anything like that, and anybody needs to worry about my well-being. But I don't know the answer. That's a tough one because I don't do it well, to be honest with you. Jenna here asks, what's my all-time favorite cake? I'll even reply on this one on Instagram, see if I can do it at the same time. Let's see here. Here we go. This is multimedia here. So Jenna asks, what's my all-time favorite? Hey, and now. Jenna asks, what's my all-time favorite cake? I'm answering on Facebook Live. Any cake with you. How's that? Is that cute? There we go. Hopefully that recorded. And we're almost done on the Instagram questions. Let's see. I think that's all y'all asked. This gentleman asked me this a handful of times, and then I'll get to the meaty stuff. Yes, Francis, I feel better. There's just a little lingering something. This individual asks, was I a member of a SIF team? If you don't know what a SIF team is, I won't explain it. I'm not going to answer that. Who is my favorite villain to play? I don't know, Nerd of North Star, if you mean a specific one, or do I like villains in general? I love playing villains. I love playing the bad guy, because in society there's less rules, like Joker, etc. It's very liberating, because I think playing so against who we really are is sometimes, I don't want to say easier, but it's a little easier to do. I think it's easier to go back to that childhood when we all played pretend without any sort of inhibitions. I think playing a villain taps into that easier for some reason. Favorite book? Obviously, everybody probably wants me to say Jack Reacher book, which they are. I love Killing Floor. I love The Affair. But honestly, my favorite book that has like saturated me and that I'll always remember is the first time I read Jurassic Park back in like 1991 or 92. We had to read it for a class, and that I'll forever remember that book. That was a really great experience, and I read it before the movie I think it even existed. So Jurassic Park for sure would be my answer. So all right, catching up here on the actual Facebook platform. Let's see if anything else has come up. I don't think it has. I'm not ignoring y'all. I have another monitor over here and making sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so to catch up, here is what is going on. Yes, Joe, I need to take time. As soon as this is over, I have nothing on the proverbial to-do list until January 5th. Like as soon as this Facebook Live is over, I have Christmas plans, etc., but no work stuff. So honestly, as soon as this is done, I'm probably going to go to bed and rest. Charlotte asks, silly inconsequential question, how old am I? I always don't answer this just to be a punk. I'm not 20 and I'm not 50. So sorry. Tanya Ants says, I've been following you for a few years and I'm not sure if I have ever seen anything you've been in. I think I started following you because of your friend Michael Foster. Yeah, Tanya, that's, I haven't been in everything on the planet like, Tom Cruise or Hugh Jackman or The Rock. I'm in, I think, the B phase of my career before I hopefully get to the A list, maybe C list right now. But that's really kind of you. Thank you. Sandy, thank you. Yeah, the Goose Gump days was a phase of my life that happened and is in my past. But yeah, there were still some good memories there. Merry Christmas, Mark. Go Army, even though they got blasted. All right, so to answer what's been going on, this will probably conjure up some conversation. So yes, I did move. The place I was living in Los Angeles was run by a completely unethical, immoral piece of crap, and I will forever battle him to the grave to win my case, literally and metaphorically. So I had to move out. Things were pretty rough as far as my family came to visit. We went to Disneyland. As soon as that was over, I had to pack up. I had to move. My buddy Scott and I drove my vehicle, and he drove the U-Haul up to my new home north of where I lived. Up kind of, I want to say, I always tag Ventura because it's the closest place. So, and then I stayed awake, unpacked the U-Haul, and hung everything. Like all the stuff you see hanging, I pretty much did it all that night. When I move, I don't, I unpack. All right, here's a sneeze. Sorry, podcast people. And unpacked, stayed awake, and then I actually had a couple of random indie jobs locally, and then I had another one in Vegas, and then I've been going a million miles an hour. So that's that. Anybody has any personal questions, you're welcome to ask. I'll tend to these as they come. Lewis asks, what's my favorite football team? Broncos. I was born in Colorado. Excuse the sniffles. Hopefully you all will forgive me. I know they are playing... I just blanked. Who are they playing? The Lions? That can't be right. But yeah, the Broncos. Yes, Sherry, it's much nicer. It's out of Los Angeles, but obviously it's still in Los Angeles because of work. Who do the Broncos play? Anybody know who the Broncos play today? I had it in my Google Calendar. Oh yeah, the Lions. Oh, and they're losing. Great. And yes, thank you, Francis. Thank you for the blessings, y'all. So, and that's pretty much the short of it. Anybody who's been with me for a while knows I don't do much else other than work and pursue this crazy dream of mine. So if you have any specific non-related to that questions, you'll have to hit me. But the big Jack Reacher stuff. So, this is sadly, for any of you all new to the equation, as in new for the last year, this is sadly not abnormal. I always use the example, Ryan Reynolds, I think, fought for 10 years to get Deadpool, and he's a name. So as far as anything official, I don't think anything has changed. I heard from Lee's lips at a thing in July when I met him in Washington, D.C. He said casting was going to start at the end of the year. It's December 22nd, so not so sure. And to you all's credit, I've seen some random stuff, with like The Rock or Gerard Butler and some other random people who, knowing what I know, they're not possible. They're not in the loop because Child wants a new face and a new name, and I know for a fact The Rock is booked out for like the next 7 years on projects. And that's typically the case with a lot of the people. But again, he wants a new name and a new face. That eliminates pretty much everyone ever mentions on any of the pages. So that's good for us, assuming he sticks to his guns and casts a new face. But yeah, the Blue Moon came out, and a good friend of mine a huge ally in my cause. He's a character in the book. People are loving it. I'm massively behind. I still need to finish Past Tense, but I'm very interested because Blue Moon sounds like slightly different than his usual writing. So that came out. But other than that, most of the press has been book related, and I honestly thought, and this would be brilliant marketing in my book, that news of the release with the release of his new book, he would sync that up with the release of information about the Amazon series, so that'd go hand in hand. People that don't read would see the book being advertised on Amazon. People that don't watch Amazon will know that because of the book. That wasn't the case, so sadly, no change at all. It's sorry, I'm still attending to a little bit of business that is time sensitive. I apologize. But yeah, so it's very, I know it's frustrating for you all. Don't get me wrong, it's extremely frustrating for me. But there's nothing I can do about it. And this is sadly the way it goes. With a giant thing like this, there's just nothing. There's so many moving parts, and if they haven't even picked who their Jack Reacher is, they can't. It goes without saying, but they can't have a Jack Reacher series without Jack Reacher. So if they haven't even started casting, or if maybe they're just so crazy secret that they've hidden it, I don't know. But as of now, it is just at a standstill. I got to send one last message. I really apologize, everyone. Sorry. So yeah, that's where that is. and that's really cool. This is actually a kind of a new development, I guess. A handful of people have said this when they started reading Blue Moon, is they are actually picturing me as Jack, which is awesome. It's just the little kid, the kid in me that's wanted to do this since God forever. That's really rewarding to know that people are literally thinking of my face with a fictional character. But it's also catch-22, because then when we do lives like this, the human brain struggles to differentiate between real and, hey, Jeff can act like Reacher. So don't forget, when I act not Reacher, that's Jeff, and Reacher's fictional, and I can act like Reacher as needed. Because a lot of people give me, not so much you all, but there's still people on other pages saying, how I act as a person isn't how Reacher would act. And I want to reach through the computer and strangle them like Jack, because Jack Reacher is fictional and it's called acting. And when I need to act like Reacher, I will. So I get sick of those people saying, Jack Reacher wouldn't act like that. Especially when it comes to me campaigning for the role. I know a lot of people get sick of that. Or I know a handful of people always complain about that. They're like, well, that's not, Jack Reacher wouldn't do any of this. Well, Jack Reacher also wouldn't be in a movie. So somebody even said something like Jack Reacher wouldn't have an ear piercing, because I have an old ear piercing. I mean, where does it end? Like, what if I was missing a toe? Can I not play Jack Reacher because I'm missing a toe? So that stuff gets old. But I do like all you all who consistently either educate yourself or want to have good dialogue about that stuff. And then I do notice, if I just like it real quick, please know I do that not to be dismissive, but to let you know I'm acknowledging your work and your support and your efforts. So I do notice when people kind of fight the good fight and educate the masses. I see that all the time. I saw one today, I think, when somebody mentioned Jason Momoa, and somebody shot that down really fast. Thank you, Joe. I love that I'm a fresh face too. Hey, Nina, it's great to see you. Thank you, Charlotte. My deep voice, I think, is about accurate, but it's also slightly enhanced because of my cold. Oh, Tanya, you didn't embarrass yourself. Tanya, if you want to see movies where I'm in versus where I linger, I would watch any of my stuff on IMDb. Oh, actually, I had to make one. I had to make the movie Parallax private because we submitted it to a film festival. But any of my stuff, who am I talking to? I'm sorry. I'm multitasking to answer your question. But any of my stuff, Tanya, is on my Vimeo thing. A lot of my performances are there. I'm typing a link for you right now. I hope. See if it worked. But that's where a lot of my performances are. Yeah, that worked. So go there. There's stuff from, I was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, some episodes of SEAL Team. Yeah, you'll see. There's stuff to see there. But you didn't embarrass yourself, Tanya. I know I'm not. That's one thing, as when I came to Hollywood, and because of my upbringing and my background, I'm not unaware of what I am and who I am and where I stand. So I know I'm not on every billboard in the world. Joe, do you think I'll start making a Reacher show this year? Great question. You may have just joined. I do not know. The whimsical, hopeful child side of me that doesn't take into account anything I know and I've seen or witnessed, I would love it to happen this year. I would pray and hope that would happen. The slightly jaded but also semi-realistic guy that's been in the city for a while and just kind of sees how things can go fast and or alternatively extremely slow, that guy, I don't know. I say this as a fan and not a candidate for Reacher, but this TV series just seems to be in the bag. Like it just seems perfect. It seems like it'd be a perfect moneymaker. The fans are there. It's a book series that was brought some attention due to Tom Cruise, and serializing it versus making movies just makes sense. Like this just seems like a perfect thing to do, and I don't know why it's taking so long. as Jeff Bosley, who wants to play Jack Reacher, yeah, I really hope they start making it this year, because I'm getting tired of it. Sherry, what else am I working on? A bunch of indie stuff, not a bunch, like 3 projects that I can't really talk about. I know that's really Hollywood cliche. But yeah, really that's it. You'll see, I'll be able to advertise those a little bit more. I'd actually go to my own IMDb to remind myself. Reaper, I actually just talked to the director of Reaper, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and those are getting finalized with some post-production stuff. And Scott and I are going to start working on Deserted. Excuse me, I'm extremely tired. But other than that, I'm kind of in a very bad dry spell. This is the top part of the year where no auditions really happen, nobody's shooting. Like Hollywood shuts down from like Thanksgiving to January, so right now it's just good because I'm just trying to survive and get unsick. Tammy, that's one of the kindest things I've ever read. Thank you. And I really do think I'm the wisest choice for this role. I say that objectively. I have a lot of eggs in this Jack Reacher basket, and I don't, like, I'm biased, so I can only be as objective as possible, but I can't think of, because even Child has said he doesn't care about hair color, so that argument's gone. This sounds so weird, but I guess I could have a much more disfigured face to match what people complain about in the books. But somebody pointed this out, and this isn't me saying it. Somebody pointed out, they're like, well, women go to bed with him. And that's not, I'm not being superficial here, but the way the books are written in a fantasy fictional world, that is an interesting point. It's a weird, James Bond has never been a bad looking guy, and he always gets the woman. So just very superficially speaking, he can't be as bad looking as I think some guys think he is versus some women. I don't know. But I do know I don't look like I've been in a lot of bar fights. I haven't broke my nose a lot, so I guess maybe if that gives me some street cred. I have these ugly chickenpox scars. Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you too, Charlotte. Nicholas, I was just talking about you. I was just talking about Reaper, telling him how you just contacted me. So Nicholas is the director, writer extraordinaire for Reaper Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, one of my favorite films I've worked on. Not because he's listening, but it really is. And it's the most epic thing I've ever... It's like if you could cross Matrix and The Lord of the Rings and then picture somebody trying to explain those movies, you just would have to go, I don't know what you're talking about, but go for it. That's what Nicholas has created with Reaper. It's just, I picture him in his basement with like red yarn, strategizing all the different plots and subplots and how the characters are all interconnected. And finally, I just got to the point where I was like, well, my character wouldn't know all this, so I'm just going to focus on my character's life because there's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, good job, Nicholas. See if I'm missing anything else here. Again, I apologize for being snotty. And I mean snotty like snotty, not snotty as in stuck up. Make sure I'm not missing any else questions. See if anybody's asked anything over here on Instagram. Again, sorry everyone. I really wish I wasn't as sick as I am. It's been a productive day. I guess I could touch on that. I've relied heavily on Instacart today for my Christmas plans. And for those who think that's some bourgeois rich thing, it's like $3.99. I will find $4 to have somebody grab my groceries and deliver them for me while I can interact and do work stuff. So I use the crap out of Instacart. And I don't, it's food. So trying not to lose them. Let's see if anybody's asking any questions here. Negative. So yeah, the update. I'm trying to think if there is any. I guess Christmas plans. People have been kind of poking the bear, asking that. Diana Hatfield. Jeff, Lee Child could have known you when you started writing the series, and you could have been on the book covers and someone would fuss. Don't listen to ones. Diana, thank you. That's true. As a fan of movies, you'll never please everyone, and I know that. But I want to. So when I get this role, I probably will disappear from the internet a little bit because I will want to convert haters and encourage people that don't hate, and that could be a very slippery slope. So far, it's gone pretty well. Like, I know there's a couple people on the other pages, like they actually use the hashtag Bosley not for Reacher or something like that, and screw that guy, he's just being a punk. But after I've talked to people and interacted with people and had some dialogue with them, a handful of people in the Bosley for Reacher Facebook group have actually been converts, if you will. And that means a lot, not in an ego sense, but it means a lot because, I mean, it's like somebody just coming to your business when you have other competition. Somebody coming to you because they believe in your business, that's a very big flattering compliment. And so when people do that, this is a superficial business, and so it makes it's a weird struggle for me because the product is me. And I think that's also the downfall of a lot of people in this business. But I think the biggest part that's the thing I got to remember is, I mean, like, God himself could come down and say, Jeff Bosley will play Jack Reacher, and Jeff Bosley is Jack Reacher, or whatever. Lee literally could have met me, however many years ago, and written the books based on me with images of me, and people would still complain. So, food's here. So at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about them. Because there's always gonna be haters. I mean, any of my movies I'm a huge fan of, like Batman versus Superman or even the Justice League. I know those are very subjective, passionate arguments, so I take it in stride. But it still competitively pisses me off, so I do my best to prove points. And to continue, because some people have asked, because I moved, and so life is a little bit more nice in my home outside. Being outside of LA has been nice, more affordable. I just cleaned my house, and I got some help with that because I don't own a lot of cleaning stuff. And so somebody came over and helped me clean. I got some more groceries just showing up. I don't have any pots and pans and stuff because I don't care. I don't use them. So don't anybody offer to send me any. I won't use them. So I got Christmas dinner delivered for myself, and you'll all hear or see. I call her my cake friend because when we went out just to have cake because we met for the first time, and we went out and had cake at Cantor's in Hollywood, and so she's my cake friend. And so I got dinner for the two of us from I've tagged it on Instagram, but whatever. So yeah, this is the first Christmas that if I've been alone, I've either been alone or with family, or since like the dawn of time. This is my first actual Christmas with someone at my home. I think since my marriage, like that's pushing 6 years ago. So it's gonna be cool. It's really fun. So we got the house clean. I got some wine and some food, and I did buy some plates and dishes so I could be somewhat like a grown ass man. Yeah, Izzy was guarding my food delivery. Merry Christmas, Francis. What's up, David? I'm kind of near the countryside, yes. Sandy, I picked a place as close to LA as I could get, and then I also, because of the move was so quick and chaotic, I actually did it sight unseen. I used their website and their 3D tour thing and Google Earth, and luckily I picked a place that's nice. And it's butted up against the mountains, so to that direction, the girl that takes Izzy for walks on my longer days, they're near horses, and I heard a rooster the other morning crow, or what do roosters do? Crow? That's a crow. Roosters crow. Yeah, well, whatever. I heard that the other morning. I'm really tired. William asks, am I getting better sleep with a purple? Will, I've been sleeping on the floor or a futon for 6 years, so any bed I sleep on is better. I'm quite pleased with the purple mattress, don't get me wrong. I'm extreme. Paul Harvell asks, do I still work with Pauline? No, not at all. We do not speak. We email if we accidentally get one another's mail and say, hey, I got your mail. But that's pretty much it. So we do not work together. So that's that. Yeah, we're pushing 45 minutes. So if you got it, hit me with it now. I need to go take some medicine and die. I won't lie, I look like I have a lot of hair today. Bosley.com. Yeah, so anything else? What else can I say? What do you all want to know? Trying to think. I've been so out of the loop, and I guess for that I should say I apologize. I know a lot of you guys have been giving me a lot of slack. Brittany, can we see the painting behind you? I'm using a desktop right now, so I can't make the camera move closer. Here's what I'll do for you, though. I'll use a little bit of technology here. So for those of you watching, if you want to hear this, I'll upload it to my Land of Boz podcast so you can listen to it at your own time. Thing with one-dimensional photographs of paintings is extremely frustrating because I use a lot of additives to my paints, and it gives it like layers and peaks and like a gravel to it, and so you don't pick up a lot of that, unfortunately. But there's the link, Brittany, to stuff I've done. And catching up. Dying is not an option. That's very true. Thank you, Charlotte. And Merry Christmas, Mary Louise. I've seen you and Nina kicking some butt in the Bosley for Reacher group, so thank you. What is she doing? Where is she? Where, look at. She likes shadows. For those of you listening on the podcast, we're all watching Izzy. She's awesome. Hey, Mark August. That man, I'm not trying to kiss his butt because he's here. But for those of you who liked the Reacher footage, the little Reacher audition film that leaked, the underwater footage is solely the responsibility. I hope that's a good thing. Solely the responsibility of this man. He's the one that made that happen. He's an underwater cinematographer, and he, out of the kindness of his heart, helped us with that. So, Mark, if you're listening or you just accidentally joined in, which I do a lot of times too, deepest thanks to you, man. Mark, we couldn't have done it without him. I mean, that scene in that book is highly necessary to have the fight happen in the pool. And to translate the quick fight in the book to screen, if it translated directly, it would have been like a 2-minute fight. So we had to elongate it and make it more cinematic, and because of Mark, we got some amazing underwater footage. So, yeah, I know that I'm supposed to be positive and optimistic and say when I get the Jack Reacher role. So I guess when I get the Jack Reacher role, I've actually have a no-joke list on my note app of people I literally or metaphorically owe something to, and will pay it back tenfold, literally or metaphorically. And Mark is definitely one of those guys. Guys or gals, but guy in this case. Because yeah, that Reacher audition film couldn't have happened, and especially the cool shots. It shows I wanted to show Lee, even though I'm not a filmmaker per se, because I gave Lee the footage not saying, hey, look, I can make movies, but I gave it to him showing that, hey, look, I really care, and I would put a lot of work into this, and this is what you'll get when you cast me, is somebody that will work his ass off. And so it was to show him an embodiment of his character on screen. And so a lot of people, some people have said there's lighting issues and whatnot. Again, I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not a lighter, I'm not an editor, I'm not a sound designer, I'm not a light designer. I just made an audition tape on steroids. And however, with all that being said, that thing could not have happened without that scene underwater. That scene just kicked ass. So, I mean, and again, the same with like the fight choreography or the makeup. I mean, I wish we got a lot of footage that nobody's even seen. A lot of behind the scenes stuff that David, the guy who played Kleiner, the footage, he got a lot of behind the scenes stuff with him and his girl. They helped us get behind the scenes stills and video. Someday I'll try to compile it all together. Y'all would not believe how much work went into that 6-minute clip, and how much money and how much volunteer time. The amount of money went to stuff that people made me pay for. The amount of volunteer time, if I translated that to money in Hollywood rates, that 6-minute thing would have cost a lot of money, and it's absurd. And I'm extremely fortunate that the people like Mark and the people that essentially, again, I keep saying this, literally or metaphorically, worked for free. If it weren't for them, it wouldn't have happened. It's not like you can go shoot hoops in your driveway alone to practice basketball. If you want to make a movie, 6 minutes or otherwise, you need a team. And I do not think one thing went wrong. I mean, everything went wrong, but the final product I'm happy with. I really wouldn't, there's things I would tweak here and there, but you know what? For my first outing using such high-end equipment and high-end resources, forgive me for saying it this way, but I am goddamn proud of that 6-minute film. So if it weren't for Mark and others, I wouldn't have that. So when I get this, the success goes to them as much as me. Joe Coyle asks, do they know if they're going to make any plans to make a Reacher film? No. As far as I know, again, as much as you can trust Hollywood, he is explicitly not making another film. But nothing's in stone. I could see them maybe doing a kind of like I would see this as a fan. If you watched X-Files, I loved how they made a couple movies in lieu of the series that tied it in. So I think that'd be kind of cool, but I don't think that's on their radar for a while. I think they're definitely committing to the Amazon scenario for a hot minute. Brittany, yeah, thanks. I wish I could brainwash myself sometimes, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into that stuff. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Nina. But yeah, that's it. It's pushing near the 1 hour mark, so if you smoke them if you got them, metaphorically. If you have anything else to say, hit me now. I'm going to check Instagram to make sure nobody chimed in. And then I'm going to take some medicines, and I'll upload this audio on a podcast. So far, nada. So anyway, everyone, thank you very much. Because even just, this is so lame, talking for an hour and my voice is almost gone. The podcast is getting the inertia back, and as you heard, it was a fun one to get back to. I love doing it, so the podcast will be back. I'll upload this audio so people can listen to it. And I know this is a little huggy at the end here, but sincerely, if for those of you who are new with me or old with me or everything in between or haters even, if it weren't for you, this sounds so cheesy. All of this is for you. You all are the customer. Nobody goes into business to not sell a product or not create a service. So I am intimately aware that all of this is for you, and having that feedback and that support when I'm kind of not giving you a product, so to speak, means a lot. That you guys are purely supporting me on faith and blind support without getting anything in return, and that means a lot to me. So please, please, please know how much that means to me, and it does not go unnoticed. If I someday, I look at just like, it's not why I'm doing it, but you know what? I look at people like, who was it? 50 Cent just rented out, I think, a toy store or Toys R Us, and said his kid could have anything in the store. If for some weird reason I get to that level of financial success, I want everyone I've seen on these lists to come to a premiere. I mean, the debt of gratitude I have for you all is immeasurable, and so I just please know I know that, and I see it, and it means a lot to me. Yeah, I really think I'm a reacher, and hopefully someday I can reference all of y'all on some talk show, and I'm talking about you on the Late Show or whatever it is, and I'm talking specifically about you all. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm going to go take some Theraflu and die. Take care.